Tonight on KGW News, protests across the nation. The Supreme Court's landmark decision to overturn Roe v. Wade continues to spark controversy tonight. That impact being felt right here in the Pacific Northwest. Plus, where do Oregon and Washington stand on their abortion laws? We shed some light on our state's reproductive rights. And later,
if we walk up, you'll see they're covered in dirt, tarnish, grime.
What's being done to restore this Portland landmark meant to honor some fallen heroes? Your news starts now. Tonight, around the nation, protesters gathered in several states following the Supreme Court decision to overturn Roe v. Wade, ending a half century of the constitutional right to an abortion. Thank you for joining us on this Friday night. I'm Laurel Porter. The Supreme Court's decision came while ruling on a Mississippi law that bans almost all abortions after 15 weeks of pregnancy. The justices sided with that law 6-3 and also struck down Roe v. Wade 5-4. Here is NBC's Bree Jackson with the latest.
Emotions running high nationwide as protesters gather into the night, including outside the Supreme Court, after a highly anticipated decision. In a 6-3 split, justices on the High Court sided with a Mississippi law that bans almost all abortions after 15 weeks of pregnancy. Justices also striking down Roe v. Wade in a 5-4 split, which protected a woman's right to get an abortion for half a century.
Outraged.
We are grateful for this decision. We celebrate it. We welcome it.
President Biden promising to protect a woman's right to an abortion.
My administration will use all of its appropriate lawful powers.
Legal abortion on demand!
Legal abortion on demand! While the decision is shocking, it is not a surprise. An early draft leaked in May. Justice Samuel Alito, along with 4 of the bench's conservative justices, called Roe egregiously wrong and deeply damaging. And in a scathing dissent, the liberal wing of the court says the draconian opinion will curtail women's rights and their status as free and equal citizens. Today's ruling will increase bans on abortions nationwide, with 13 states preparing for trigger laws to take effect immediately.
The right to life has been vindicated.
It's a slap in the face to women about using their own judgment.
Nearly 50 years of policy abandoned, forcing women across the country into potentially risky healthcare decisions. In Washington, Bree Jackson for NBC News.
Here at home, thousands gathered in downtown Portland this afternoon, largely in protest of the Supreme Court's decision. Let's bring in our Alma McCarty, who was there talking with demonstrators. Alma, what did people have to say when you were out there?
Well, Laurel, it's a mix of emotions. Some tell me that they're scared, that they're angry, and that they're feeling grateful, privileged to live in a state like Oregon where reproductive rights are still protected.
Friday night, people filled parks and marched through Portland's streets, protesting the decision by the United States Supreme Court to overturn Roe v. Wade.
It's a dark time for women's health care and women's rights.
I was born after Roe v. Wade, and I never imagined that this is something I would ever have to encounter in my lifetime.
The ruling ending the nearly 50-year precedent that guaranteed a constitutional right to an abortion.
Today, women and trans people are less free than they were yesterday. And if they're less free, then we all are less free, including those of us who have male bodies.
I'm still young, and I don't want this to be my future, that I'm having these bans put on my body.
With signs and speeches, demonstrators like Aurora Moore vowed to fight back.
My mother worked for Planned Parenthood the whole time I was growing up. I volunteered for multiple different organizations that have tried to protect reproductive rights. And I've heard the stories from women who lived before Roe. And I've heard about the back alley abortions. I've heard about the people who died. I've heard about the people whose lives were irreconcilably changed because they didn't have the right to protect their own bodies and make decisions about a very personal healthcare choice.
Amid the outcry, anti-abortion advocates in Oregon say the ruling by the court's conservative majority is a victory.
This day, it's an incredible day, and we weren't sure that it would ever happen. We have the ability to have those discussions, to debate those policies within our own states with our own legislatures.
Although Oregon and Washington have protections in place for abortion access, many worry for pregnant people in other states.
I'm concerned about unsafe abortions and people crossing the border trying to get stuff done.
There are people right now who are pregnant who don't even know it and don't even realize that they're being affected by this. They have no idea.
It's important to be here to show that all of these people are not willing to just take this in stride and say this is our new reality, that we're going to continue showing up, we're going to continue fighting.
In Portland, Alma McCarty, KGW News.
That protest was peaceful, but later in the evening, our photographer on the scene saw a small group in the crowd breaking windows on the corner of 5th and Yamhill, along with graffiti at the new courthouse in downtown Portland. And just minutes ago, we also saw a large crowd gathered between 150 to 200 people across from the federal courthouse. We reached out to Portland police and we're waiting to see if any arrests have been made. Here on the West Coast, the governors of Oregon, Washington, and California are responding to today's Supreme Court decision by committing to what they're calling a firewall for reproductive rights. We talked to an Oregon state health official and a reproductive rights lawyer who said, despite the ruling at the nation's highest court, not much will change here in Oregon and Washington. And that is because abortion is protected under law in both states. In Oregon, abortion access is protected under the Reproductive Health Equity Act that was established in 2017. That expanded access for people to get abortions and for healthcare providers to perform abortions regardless of immigration status or insurance barriers. But not all states have those protections, including our neighbors to the east in Idaho. Advocates say they anticipate people will come to Oregon to get an abortion.
We are expecting an estimated 235% increase in people traveling to the state.
There are concerns that could put more strain on the healthcare system, along with fears providers may face litigation if they provide an abortion to a person from out of state. That is yet to be seen. In other national news, the first significant gun legislation in the U.S. in 3 decades now awaits President Joe Biden's signature. The House passed the bill this morning after the Senate approved it last night. It provides grants to states for red flag laws. It enhances background checks to include juvenile records and closes the so-called boyfriend loophole. That means keeping guns away from dating partners convicted of abuse. The president is expected to sign it. Stay with KGW and NBC for continuing coverage of the president's expected decision to sign the gun control bill into law and up-to-the-minute coverage of the landmark abortion ruling. The latest updates are always available at kgw.com. Closer to home, a piece of Portland history you might have missed traveling along Burnside is in need of repair. But now there's an effort to restore this landmark meant to honor our fallen firefighters. Catherine Cook explains.
Somewhere between Southwest 18th and 19th and Southwest Alder and kind of West Burnside too is a place in Portland.
Do you know what this place is?
I have no idea.
That many are as befuddled by
it's in rough shape
as they are its address.
I have no idea.
It's a Firefighters Memorial.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, dang.
It looks like some type of monument. Can't really make out. David somebody?
His name was David Campbell. Portland's fire chief at the turn of the 20th century. On June 26, 1911, Chief Campbell and every firefighter in Portland responded to a massive fire at the Union Oil distributing plant. Campbell borrowed a turnout coat from one of his men to attack the fire from the inside. A massive explosion blew off the roof. Chief Campbell never made it out. After Campbell's death, 150,000 people lined the streets of Portland for his funeral procession, and they built this.
This memorial to him was built by the citizens of Portland, not by the firefighters of Portland. He was that special to the citizens.
Don Porth spent 27 years with Portland Fire and Rescue. He's dedicated his retirement to doing right by Campbell. For him, that means restoring and improving this triangle-shaped property. Every June, there's a small ceremony here honoring Campbell's great sacrifice. And then it's back to ambiguity.
Just as that thing they drive by and they're not really quite sure what it is.
There's also the matter of the now 75 Portland firefighters who've died line-of-duty deaths. Many of their names were added to this memorial.
Every one of those firefighters has a story.
With little formality.
If we walk up, you'll see they're covered in dirt, tarnish, grime, and just really no interpretation of who those people were. We would like to reimagine this entire triangle by moving this up to the far end, the south end, opening up this lower area as an open public plaza for public use.
For Don, this memorial sits at a critical intersection, one connecting the past, present,
we just had our 75th line of duty death for Portland.
And future.
A man by the name of Jerry Richardson.
Jerry was a dedicated firefighter for the past 30 years.
Heather Richardson misses her husband Jerry every day. He died in November of lung cancer, brought on, doctors say, by years of fighting fires.
It's important. It's a big sacrifice that our family made. He was only 56. That's young.
Jerry's sacrifice and that of the 74 others are still waiting for a physical place in Portland where they can be honored.
It would mean the world to me.
Heather hopes it can be here.
So, be a good place for our family to be able to come and for our grandkids to understand what a hero he was for the citizens of Portland.
Right now, the David Campbell Memorial Association is creating a budget for restoring this place, and an architect is working on plans. They figure it'll cost around $1.5 million to complete. They've already raised $232,000 in donations, almost half of it from firefighters themselves. They hope the city will cover the rest.
In a statement to KGW, Portland's Fire Commissioner Joanne Hardesty wrote in part, "I enthusiastically support ongoing efforts to restore and improve the David Campbell Memorial for fallen firefighters. I've also had good conversations with my colleagues about providing funding for the memorial once a final plan is ready to go."
I think it's a way for them to take ownership and just a sense of pride.
With each step forward, current firefighters like Battalion Chief TJ Leonards are encouraged.
Make it something that people want to walk over and look at it. It's abused, it's disrespected, it's something that represents Portland. It's not just about the fire service.
It's really about time. This is David Campbell. He gave his life for a city that's forgotten. In Southwest Portland, Catherine Cook, KGW News.
Let us not forget, this year's David Campbell Memorial Ceremony will take place this Monday at 10 a.m.